The industrial action, if it can actually be called one of the industrial action measures, I'm not sure that it's an industrial action measure as such, is that the ITLD and Treasury membership, IT membership, is not going to do discretionary overtime. We've got that, we've got a go slow, and the out of office reply does indicate that there's an aspect of industrial action. What happens when you don't do discretionary overtime? A lot of the essential maintenance works happen out of hours. So the maintenance work on internet applications had to be done within working hours because nobody was going to be doing discretionary overtime. But of course, as we know, discretionary overtime is discretionary, and the employer cannot force any member of staff, whether unionized or not, whether in industrial action or not, to carry out discretionary overtime.
So what is your response to the claim that this could be an act of sabotage?
I'm horrified, and I'm horrified that, it's accompanied by threats of disciplinary, by threats of police action, being reported to the police, and especially, this is especially bad given that before we started the industrial action, when we balloted, we were asking the Minister for Industrial Relations for meetings urgently, and we were never given a meeting.
So just to be clear, this is not sabotage?
This is industrial action that has been taken after requesting meetings that were not given. We were told that we were going to be given after 2 weeks, and then another 2 weeks you would be given a meeting, basically a month in. The failure to meet with us, failure to dialogue on this, and then shock horror when people refuse to do discretionary overtime, which again, not an industrial action measure, and was something that has been done previously by ITLD when in industrial action.
The government says this potential sabotage, as it's described it, of its infrastructure posed a serious risk to security and also put lives at risk. Your response to that?
Well, look, you're carrying out essential maintenance of systems, right, within working hours. Now, what's the other option? Not carrying out the maintenance. If you don't carry out the maintenance, if the government said, okay, don't do any maintenance, it wouldn't be done. But then that would be a greater risk to security, because then you're not maintaining essential systems. So I honestly, I don't know where they're going with this. And the report to the police for a union action when they haven't dialogued with us, I am horrified.
Okay, well, on that point, how are your members feeling about that? The government saying that the potential sabotage will be reported to the police?
Well, I think that everybody is horrified, afraid, intimidated, but I'm hoping to feel that they will continue with resolve, because I think that even as a community, can we, encourage the government to act in this way?
And when will IT services be restored?
This is a question of actually the official side dialoguing with us and saying, well, look, today, the only communication that we've had was a very angry phone call today to me. Look, we need to sit down and talk. If there's something that they want not done, but let's sit down and talk. We cannot, this cannot continue via threats and intimidatory measures. And certainly we would feel that essential maintenance would need to be done. Obviously, we would not be prepared to do it outside working hours. If the official side feels that the essential maintenance should not be done, then they can dialogue with us. And within the working hours, the membership will do what the employer requires of them within working hours. After working hours, they're going home, as is their full entitlement.
Okay, so just to summarise, we've discussed the government statement today. Why were they initially taking industrial action?
Well, they were taking industrial because, they've had a long history, ups and downs with the government. But right before Christmas, we were still dialoguing on the extra resources that were promised to ITLD under the collective agreement. But just before Christmas, GHA vacancies came out, as a result of which it became obvious that the pay scales were markedly different. What happened? We went to industrial relations. We had meetings. We explained that this was, wrong because there should be some parity between the same grades, but also wrong because it means that retention of staff in these departments gets much harder. What happened? It went through anyway, and now 2 ITLD officers will be moving to the GHA, and they will be earning £11,000 more a year just for that move. when their job roles will be equivalent.
Okay.
So what happens there, I'm sorry, just to say, obviously that lack of parity has ramifications because people are doing work remunerated at very different rates within the same sectors of the public service. And also it means that from ITLD and Treasury perspective, they will find it very, very difficult to retain staff when there are vacancies at the GHA.
Okay, you've highlighted one difference in pay scales. You said 10 grand, I believe. What is the difference between ITLD and GHA generally? Can you summarise the amount more or less in pay scales?
We did do an exercise, and it goes from, anything from, it goes all the way. That disparity happens throughout all of the scales, but it goes from anywhere between 11,000 to £6,000, all across the scales.
All right. The government did give us a response this evening saying that the GHA electronic health technician scales are not comparative to IT and LD officer scales. The GHA IT have different title scales, roles and responsibilities. On what basis are you comparing these roles in the first place?
On job descriptions and the actual work involved. And the fact that, the two people are moving into from technician to level 1, but they're actually going to hit the ground running because they already do very similar work at a lower grade. And also the fact that, there's a parallel with the AA situation here. Within Treasury IT and ITLD, a lower level was created to do the same job of the people that grade higher, and then everything trickles down. The idea is you create a lower grade, so you can pay people less for doing the same work, just like the AAs.
Okay, very quickly, because we've got to go on industrial action. Will it continue, yes or no?
Well, I will be seeing my members, as soon as possible. I am hoping that it will, because I feel that bowing down to police threats because of an industrial action, especially when you are refusing to do discretionary overtime, I am shocked and horrified that this can happen in socialist Gibraltar.
Okay.